thanks for the warning.
Oh, that's perfect. Sometimes people like really butcher my name.
Wait, wait, did I? Oh no, I said thanks for the warning. What did you thought I said?
Oh, I thought you were saying thanks, Rory.
Oh, Rory, thanks, Rory. Thanks, Rory. Oh no, I thank you, Rory, as well.
I got you. I got you.
Hey, I'm Baby Queen.
Hi, I'm Katie Beza.
Hey, this is Ryan McMullen.
Hi guys, Lara here.
Hey, I'm Jim from Koala.
Hi, I'm Astrides.
And you are listening to Léim Thart.
And you're listening to Léim Thart.
And you're listening to Léim Thart.
It's out now.
I really hope you enjoy it.
So enjoy.
Welcome, Joe Hill, to Léim Thart. Great to have you on. Lots of guitar strumming, lots of great lyrics, and you have a brand new album, Girlhood. It's fresh, just out at the end of November. Things must be mad for you at the moment.
Yeah, do you know what? They are. It's really fun to be busy. It's a privilege to be busy, and I feel I'm loving it. It's great. After a while of not being busy, it's perfect. Yeah.
That's great to hear. And on the trail, like pushing this album out that everybody needs to hear. And, along the way, so much has happened. Like you've had co-signs from BBC Radio 1 and the Elton John. Your music played for over 91,000 hours in 2024. And you have a record on shelves that people can physically pick up.
I know, pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Absolutely mad. So, like, how has it been to finally get the album out into the world? Because I get a lot of mixed responses here when I ask that question. Sometimes people are saying they're so happy that everyone else can sort of devour the songs, but other times they're just like, my baby's out.
To be honest with you, I feel like um, for me, it's the release is so much more than just like a musical release. It's like a bit of a it's it's a it's a testament to getting through the year. I think I had like a really like this has been, if I'm honest with you, one of the toughest years yet of my growing up life, and I think I had to work through a lot to get this album out. At the beginning of the year, I parted ways with, I got signed with a major record deal. I was signed for a year, and in January I was told I got signed for a 3 album deal, and I was told that I wasn't able to release the first album I'd made because there was it's kind of no one's fault. It's like just a sad, unfortunate event basically where like everyone got fired where I was signed. There was a mass reshuffling, and I was a developing artist. I was only signed for like 3 months when it all happened. So I think just kind of that no one really cared. I was up against Coldplay and Gorillaz and stuff like that. And then, to be in that environment where no one really cares about you, it's quite demoralizing. And I think my manager was just like, look, you made this record, which is totally different to the record that's come out, by the way. It's been on such a journey, but that's another conversation. But yeah, he was like, look, they don't have the money or time to put that into you right now. Let's go independent. Let's leave. It was a massive heartbreak, kind of girl from Cheddar who'd got signed, was all on like the right path, then having to, work with with a very different kind of budget and kind of go from scratch again, And I think for me, that made me lose loads of confidence, if I'm honest. And yeah, it's been a bit of battle with self-belief and having to, when you lose, something that was representative of the dream, which it actually isn't, I think that was really hard. And then I spent most of this year just pulling the record together with people that still believed in me and that wanted to do it. And now I'm like, fuck yeah, it's great. I've got a really cool team. I'm ready for the next one. I think have clarity and vision as to what I want to say as an artist as opposed to what other people think I should say. And yeah, it's very freeing and exciting, but it's been an emotional journey. That's my answer for you.
100%. Like, great long description. Love to hear all the details because it's become more of a thing in a good way in the last few years in music. that people are kind of choosing that sort of independent road. And I didn't realize that it was only 3 months, because normally the sort of headline stories you hear that kind of are similar to yours is that someone has been signed for like 10 years and they're waiting and waiting and waiting. But yeah, no, I'm seeing good things after listening to the album, seeing good things in the future after hearing the album, because
We're manifesting.
manifesting it, because just recently Gracie was on the podcast, who was same situation as you, was on a label and then went independent, making more bangers. And then I think Ray is a great example from the last few years, who really made the headlines in
Oh, yeah.
kind of
Lots of
leaving the label situation.
Seems to be a pattern. Lots
Yeah.
of women that get dropped, young
Yeah.
gals, you know,
Yeah.
and it's made me very passionate. And I think that's why I wrote Girlhood, because I was like feeling angry and passionate. So that's kind of how I got to that, I think.
Yeah. And without being too much of a downer, it's definitely fair to say that women have a lot of things to be angry about in this world. So Girlhood was very much warranted as a body of work.
No, but it's actually very gentle body of work, really. It's a very polite anger.
Very polite anger. That's trademark British, wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And you have listed some of your influences for the album. There's some more classic ones like the Beatles, there's Simon and Garfunkel, the brilliant Joni Mitchell, and then contemporary ones like Remi Wolf, Kacey Musgraves. What were you really drawing from all of them when you were putting this album together? Because the songs are so honest and like it feels very, very personal in when we are thinking about the journey that you went on and what stories you wanted to not create, but to create songs out of.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a record that felt like a sleepover, that felt like a really honest conversation with your friends. Like when you're with your gals and you go around and you've had a really shit week and you kind of tell your stories and you go into way too much detail. That's kind of what I wanted Girlhood to feel like. And I think I drew inspiration from Kacey Musgraves in her songwriting, in the way that there's always kind of like a lesson from the song. She has a really clear sense of like, oh, that's that song. That's yeah. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I discovered her like 2.5 years ago, and that for me was like the turning point. I was like, what is this warm Americana beauty? Like, what is it? And I got a bit addicted to Golden Hour. I was like, wow, which is like my favorite record of all time. And so I think, a sense of songwriting and then some of the instrumentation, like in Power Girl and Where Did Ella Go and Rude Awakening, there's like a little Americana nod. That I loved the way that her music felt like kind of a warm hug. So that was from her. Simon and Garfunkel, I guess, more like the melodic and harmonic world. Maybe I'm talking more about like live when at the moment I'm doing like a little record store tour, because I'm not doing like a big band tour right now, having to do like a 3-piece with 3-part harmonies, and you can kind of hear that in some of the record as well, like Power Girl on those harmonies and Rude Awakening. I'm trying to think of the other songs on there. And then I guess Fleetwood Mac are like a massive reference, and Stevie Nicks. And I think that's more like the instrumentation, and how they span from kind of a bit more soulfully vibes. Like I like to have a bit of it's a kind of a soulful vocal, which the next batch of music is so much more of that. But yeah, I love how they kind of, you listen to a Fleetwood Mac record and you're nodding your head to like The Chain and then you're crying to Landslide. And I think, that's what I intended with Girlhood. It's like you're rocking out to Tomboys, but then you're having a little cry to Just As Strong. And I liked, the kind of, the variation that they have in their music. But it's still like universal and recognizable. So I think those are, Joni Mitchell, just some of the tunings and the storytelling. I think it's just a sense of storytelling that all of those artists I've referred to have, is like the backbone of their music. So yeah, those are some of the influences.
Brilliant. And I love what you say about it still being relatable because out of the songs, one that stood out, which you released as a single, and I can see why, is Supermarket Sushi, because I love how specific it is in explaining how it's a comfort to you, because I think we all have things that comfort us, and I don't know if everyone's logic would say this, but my own logic would nearly think if a lyric is that specific, I would normally wonder, oh, does that make it less relatable? But actually, the sort of love that you show for something as simple as Supermarket Sushi actually makes it more relatable. So it's kind of like this funny opposite. So, like, what kind of room is this Supermarket Sushi being eaten in when you envision the sort of comfort of it all?
Probably in the living room in front of the TV, with a little sunset lamp on, and with your little cozy blanket on. Yeah, I think everyone has their little comfort foods or little things that they do just to feel grounded in this kind of very fast-paced world. And yeah, that's what that song is about. I also just love the title. I love sushi, and I love the supermarket like squishy one that's kind of quite shit. And I was like, I love that as a title. Let's get that in somewhere in a song. And then just loved rhyming it with "Knew Me." Let's get Supermarket Sushi. Like before you even knew me, I was like, this is great.
Nicely done. And currently, I know that lots of the listeners are loving the current single, Coming Home to You. And this one, alongside Supermarket Sushi, is also just a really comforting listen. I had it on just before, I was giving it another listen before you came onto the call. Because I suppose with, it's still cold out and people are looking for that kind of feeling of comfort. And as you said, coming home, what does coming home to you mean? Not just as like the song, but if someone said the words to you in your personal life.
I think it just means about like finding your rock, in day-to-day life. I think especially like now living in London, and I'm from a little village called Cheddar. And actually I wrote that song when I was in LA, when I was out in LA, baby, and I was drinking way too much coffee and feeling really scatty and like all over the place. And but I had my boyfriend there at the time. He's also a writer and a producer, and I remember just kind of going home being like, God, thank God you can go and be with all these LA producers and maybe people that aren't as sincere as like your mates, and just go home and have a little like take your mask off and be like, oh, fucking hell, that was a hard session, or that was that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what coming home to you means, letting your guard down and finding and being with someone that you can be yourself with. Maybe that's your dog, I don't know, maybe that's your mum, or maybe it's yourself. I think it could kind of be anything, but that song is actually my only love song, I guess, on the record.
I love that the album is kind of has this time capsule element to it, and that's a through line with such a like it feels like a wide range of topics being explored, but it still kind of stays cohesive, and that's what gives it that feeling. And what also adds this is that you've got your listeners and your hairdresser featured on this album. I loved listening to their contributions and how you sort of reached out to people to be a part of it and really add to this capsule.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. I remember, because I've got this WhatsApp group. I basically started these nights around London called gatherings, and now actually doing them kind of all over the UK, which is really fun. And I think that was kind of my way of like doing something for me that I had control of when I felt really out of control, when I was signed and wasn't really able to release music and felt like a Duracell bunny being sat on. I was like, I've got so much energy and I've got so many songs, I'm ready to go, but I couldn't. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start these nights that I just organized totally by myself via DM. And then now I've got this kind of WhatsApp community group that all the community's on, and it's really cool. That's how I announce my shows and stuff. And I just wanted to get them involved in the record. And so kind of, I was like, and I've done it with music videos and stuff before. And I was like, what does girlhood mean to you? And then kind of went through all the submissions.
That's a great community of people to hear on the record. And then so far, with the success of the record, you sold out the legendary Moth Club, should I say, in Hackney, which has hosted a bunch of other legends. There's been Idols, there's been Lady Gaga, there's been Caroline Polachek, and you've gone on a record store tour. So are these kind of your first times bringing these songs out, or have you been teasing them at shows?
Oh my God, the whole point of the gatherings, I started them a year ago, was just to play new material. Because I was so frustrated. I was like, I want to fucking release this music. So I wanted to see how it connected with like fans in the room. And then, it's a good sort, like it's a really good way of just stripping it back, doing it acoustic, and you can really tell if like the song shines through. And it just came really clear that like All My Girls Are Tomboys and Big Boys Cry Too. And yeah, it's really fun just playing them out. And then when you're like, I'm going to release it, there's like a group of people there that are like, great, I know the words. So yeah, that's been really fun.
Brilliant. Now, that's what we've had so far. 2025 plans, Joe Hill. What can we expect?
A lot of live shows. Yeah, coming around the UK, definitely. Especially to places I haven't been before. A mixture of some gnarly shows in the round, bigger venue than the Moth Club, my first proper tour. But it won't be a normal tour. I'm going to combine it with, it's got a slight twist. And then festivals. And then hopefully coming over to Europe and America.
Brilliant.
Is 2025.
Can't wait to hear what this twist is. And then before we go, very slightly different. I heard that you speak Arabic. Is that true?
I do indeed, yeah.
So could you tell me, Léim Thart means jump around in Irish. How would I say that in Arabic?
Oh my God, jump around. I'm actually, I need to find the verb for that. Yeah, القفز حوالي.
One more time?
القفز.
القفز.
القفز. Sorry, القفز. القفز means like to jump.
القفز.
قفز. قفز.
قفز.
أيوة, القفز. And then حوالي means like around.
حوالي.
Yeah. Or حوال. Yeah. القفز حوال. Yeah.
القفز
there we go.
حوال. Brilliant.
Beautiful. Sounds got a ring to it.
You couldn't skip that opportunity. Thank you so much, Joe Hill. Best of luck with the record Girlhood. It is out now. You can listen to it. You can get the record. And to be announced, live shows incoming. Go see her live this year.
Yeah, lovely to chat.